Hello, Snarky Faithers. Stuart here, and I just wanted to give you a little rundown. It's kind of like my top three reasons for you to go out and make sure that you vote. Now, first of all, when we think about voting, I know this is a year that kind of feels like it's a combination of the finale from The Walking Dead. So you have everybody, you have Negan, the jerk with the bat, and you don't know what's going to happen, but you are filled with this intense dread, right? And then you flash forward to the new season where you see who actually does end up getting killed, where the dread is gone, but the mourning is right there. You just mourn like, oh, fill in the blank. This isn't going to be about spoilers. Such and such died. Ah. And I feel like we are kind of like on the precipice. We are on the edge of watching what has happened to our country. It's kind of like, well, I have 4 kids, so I can tell you that I've been through the birthing process, or at least as a companion to the birthing process. I really don't have the experience that my wife had. But when you think about birthing, there is a intense amount of pain, sweating, grunting. So there's kind of like this intense not greatness, but it ends in something beautiful. And so, what it kind of feels like today is that America, you're pregnant. You've waited 9 months, actually longer, to be able to birth whatever it is will lead us to the next stage and the next step. And we have that, but we don't have the joy of what comes after the birth. Oh, we have a baby now. Yay! So we have this dread, like The Walking Dead. We have this intense period of not greatness, much kind of like birth. And the end, it's really going to be kind of like finding out that Glenn died. There, I did it. I couldn't hold it back. It was awful. And so we find ourselves at this place. We find ourselves at this edge on the day before elections of being able to ask ourselves, what the hell's going on and what do I do? Now, what I want to do is I want to run through my reasons for you to get off your butt and get out and vote. And I don't even care which way you vote. This isn't even about that. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other way. I'm just trying to get you off your butt to vote. And here's my reasons why I think you need to go out and vote. One, when we think about what it means to be engaged in our community, when we think about what it means to be engaged in civic duty, voting is the bare minimum that we need to do. It's the bare minimum. It's the baseline. It is the minimal thing that you should do in order to change your community. So, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying is start there. Number one, it is the bare minimum of what we're called to do. So at least be a decent citizen and get out there and vote. Number two, one thing you have to remember, I know, America, I know that we are so sick. We are so sick of these two candidates. We've been through the debates. We have sat through them, and it was excruciating. We've seen the ads on TV. We've read it all in whichever biased media outlet you're reading from, and we are tired of it. But I will tell you this, there are so many other important issues going on in this election that don't have anything to do with the president, that don't have anything to do with the Don or Hillary at all. And so there are other things that we need to be engaged in on more of the state level of what the heck is going on. And so I know you may be sick. I've talked to friends, I've talked to people about this, and they are sick and they don't want to be a part of the election process because they don't want Don, they don't want Hillary, the whole lesser of two evils argument. Fine. But guess what? At least on my ballot when I went and voted, there was 26 other items that needed us. There were 26 other items that mattered. So you may feel dejected. You may feel like you want to check out and say, I'm doing a protest vote by not voting. Fine. If you really want to do a protest vote, that is totally fine. Skip the presidential part, but make sure you get your butt out there and vote on all of the other issues that are going on. Because I'll revert back to one, voting is our basic civic duty as citizens here, and we need to do that. So one, basic civic duty. Two, there's tons of other issues that we're dealing with. And three, this is one, I have a few friends that have used this argument for me. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. I'm just not going to vote. That's kind of my protest thing, whatever. But what I will tell you is this. I may not be able to enforce this in all of your realms, but I will enforce this in my own realms. And I do this when I hang out with folks at bars and pubs and other stuff like that. When people start complaining about what's happening in the world today, when they complain about, oh my gosh, President is doing this, I can't believe President is terrible, whatever that is, I'll tell you this. If you have not gone out and voted and you have not done your civic duty, you really have no right to complain. Now, are you hearing that? You have no right to go and complain about the state of the world and the way things are if you're not doing your, hey, what's number one? Basic civic duty and getting out and voting. I think that should be a rule that we all adhere to. So when we have that friend or that weird uncle that likes to talk about politics and everything else, and as he begins to getting ramped up, if he says, hey, you got to ask him, you say, hey, did you actually go out and vote? And if he says no, say no, we're not having this conversation. You need to wait another 2 to 4 years whenever you're voting again to be able to have a right to complain. So I think, again, basic civic duty gives us the right to bitch and moan and complain, etc., about what's going on in the country. So if you don't get out and vote, shut up for the next 4 years. Just shut up. Go into your bunker and do what you need to do, because we really don't need you for the next 4 years. So, 1, it's your basic civic duty. 2, there's so many other issues that are important. 3, it's kind of about arguing rights. You know what I mean? I mean, when you begin to look at this is really just about arguing rights for the rest of us. So if either of those 3, pick one of them, pick all of them, pick 2 of them, it doesn't really matter. But get your butt out there, get yourself out there and go and vote. It is what you need to do. Now, what I want to tell you on top of this is for us to remember, okay? Tuesday is going to happen. Super Tuesday is going to happen. But guess what? There's also Wednesday. And I know we're so tied up with what is going to happen, who's going to win, because we tie ourselves in a way that's like, if our number one, candidate wins, we feel good about ourselves. If our candidate does not win, we're angry and tired. It's kind of like fantasy football, but in reality, even though I guess fantasy football is also in reality, but we're putting ourselves in these other situations that really have nothing to do with our lives, which I'm circling back a point that you're getting over and over again. Basic civic duty. So if you want change, if you want stuff to happen in this country, if you are not happy with it, and again, I'm not talking about whichever partisan line you're on, voting is the basic. It is the minimal thing that you can do to make change in your community, in your country, in your world. And so I'm encouraging you to go do that. But number 2, do other things in your community. If you're not happy about stuff, if you're upset about climate change, go and do something on a local level to be able to help impact that in your own community. Just because you've gone, I've voted, I've done all I need to do, I'm going to kick back and bitch and moan and complain because I'm an American and that's what we do. No. Voting is only the beginning. If you're upset, if you're not even happy about the answers, that's fine. But go and invest yourself somewhere where you are able to go out and make change happen. And the last thing I want to kind of get at is this thing I've noticed on social media, because again, this is Snarky Faith. I've noticed several people saying, I'm going to just do a write-in vote for Jesus. I'll vote for Jesus 2016. Woohoo! Hey, guess what? Jesus isn't on any of the ballots. And at first I thought it was just kind of a dumb little trite Christian thing, because Christians like to do dumb little trite things. I thought that was just a thing people were saying. And so I actually asked a few people that had been incessantly posting about Vote Jesus. And some of them answered that they are literally going to write in Jesus. What the hell do you think that is going to do? Absolutely nothing. Now, I'm not trying to contradict what I said earlier. Fine, write in Jesus and vote for all the other things on your list, and you're fine. But really, Christians, seriously, do you even think Jesus wants that job? I go back to one of the things that my grandfather told me when I was younger. He told me this. He said, the smartest person, the person that we absolutely should have for president, is too smart to actually run for it, because it's a crap show. It is a insane circus that goes down. And so we are kind of dealing with the leftovers in this country for who we're voting for. But regardless, buckle up. Tuesday will be a crazy ride. But my hope for you is that, guess what? The world will not end. Wednesday will happen. And we have to continue to live our lives. even if the candidate that you chose did not get picked. And what I would tell you, especially if you're a person of faith, to go find a place to invest your life, to make your community better, and to make this world a better place. Because again, voting is the minimum thing that we need to do, but we still need to do it. So get your butt out there and vote on Tuesday. That's it. Thanks for listening, and go to www.snarkyfaith.com. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Twitter. Our podcast, our radio show, is on iTunes, and we would love to have you join in on the conversation, but that is my little snippet for the day. I will talk to you later.